Jim Davidson sparks firestorm on GB News, refuses to apologize after calling Sunak a puppet. You're not going to believe what just happened on GB News. Jim Davidson, live, unfiltered, and completely unapologetic, just called Rishi Sunak a puppet on national television. And when pressed to take it back, he doubled down. No apology, no regret, and absolutely no interest in backing off. This wasn't just another opinion segment. This was a moment that split the room wide open and sent shockwaves across the political media space. Let's unpack exactly what went down and why people are saying this could be one of the boldest on-air moments in GB News history. It all started during a live panel on GB News, one of those late-night shows that usually leans into commentary, humor, and off-the-cuff takes. Jim Davidson, the controversial comedian turned political firebrand, was on the panel, sitting alongside two conservative commentators and a Labour-affiliated guest. The topic: the recent election fallout, Starmer's rise, and the Conservative Party's collapse. But then, as the conversation shifted to Rishi Sunak's leadership, Davidson did what Davidson does: he dropped a verbal bomb. "Let's be honest," he said, staring straight at the camera. Rishi Sunak wasn't leading anything. He was a puppet. A polished, media-trained mascot dancing for the global elite, not for the British people. Silence. One panelist tried to laugh it off. Another looked stunned. The host quickly jumped in, trying to smooth things over, but Davidson wasn't done. He leaned in and added, "I'm not apologizing. I'm sick of this polished nonsense. We need leaders with backbone, not those reading lines off teleprompters." And just like that, social media exploded. Within minutes, clips of the segment were being shared across Twitter, Telegram, TikTok, you name it. Some praised Davidson for saying what everyone's thinking but too afraid to say. Others slammed him for disrespecting a former prime minister with dog whistle nonsense. One comment on X read, "Jim Davidson might be outrageous, but for once, he's not wrong. Sunak was more brand than backbone." Another was harsher. "This is why GB News is a joke. They platform people who treat politics like a stand-up routine." But the most interesting reaction came from inside the media itself. According to a source close to GB News producers, there was immediate internal debate about whether the clip should stay online or be quietly taken down. Spoiler alert, it stayed. Because, like it or not, Davidson had tapped into something deeper. A rising frustration among viewers, not just about Rishi Sunak, but about the entire political class. Let's step back for a moment. Rishi Sunak's time as Prime Minister was short, complicated, and highly managed. He was praised for economic caution, but criticized for lacking connection. He projected calm, but some said he felt distant. And for critics like Davidson, that image, that carefully crafted presentation, is exactly the problem. "We've been fed a line," Davidson said after the broadcast in a follow-up post. "Told to sit down, shut up, and trust that these polished men in suits have our best interests at heart. And whether you agree or not, there's clearly a public appetite for less polish, more punch." Even some conservative supporters chimed in. A Tory councillor, speaking anonymously to a local outlet, said, "Jim Davidson is blunt. But sometimes, bluntness wakes people up." And that's what this entire moment felt like. A wake-up call. Not because of the insult, but because of the refusal to apologize. In today's media climate, we're used to walkbacks, corrections, PR statements. But Davidson, he made it clear he stands by every word. Now, will there be consequences? Possibly. GB News is already under scrutiny from Ofcom, and moments like this only add fuel to the fire. But here's the twist. This might be what GB News wants. Unfiltered voices. Media disruption. A shake-up of the old-school political narrative. And like it or not, Davidson delivers that in spades. So what happens next? Will Davidson be quietly benched from future panels? Will Sunak, known for avoiding public drama, respond? Or will this moment just pass, like so many others, in the never-ending whirlwind of UK politics? Here's what's clear. This wasn't about just one statement. This was about a deeper frustration boiling under the surface, a public growing tired of rehearsed speeches, sanitized language, and leadership that feels more like branding than belief. And that's what makes this moment stick. Not because Davidson said something wild, but because, for many, he said something that felt true. And he didn't blink, didn't flinch, didn't apologize. So now, the question is, if Jim Davidson, a comedian, is the one pulling the curtain back, what does that say about the politicians behind it? Stay tuned, because this conversation is just getting started.